Hey everybody, welcome back to Building SouthLake, and today we're doing a tour of the city because we are on episode 60. But before we even do that, if I can get in the door, there we go. We gotta do our subscriber of the week, and our subscriber of the week is, have this in, L-E, Lego Master is actually what we're spelling, pretty much, pretty simple. And I've actually seen a lot of comments from him as well. Lego Master, and that's it. So boom, it's actually all caps, but I don't think it's that big of a deal to have it in all caps. So like we said, we're going to be doing a tour of the city because it has progressed quite a bit, not as much as it did like from some 10 parts, mainly because I have been busy working, but I still get the opportunity to actually work on the city and try to expand it. So we are going to take a look at all the new stuff, and we are still going to be touring the old part if you are new to the city as well. So mainly all the stuff that we've been adding has been on this side of the river that you can see, and it's basically, this is the only side that we've been working on for the past 10 parts for the most part. I mean, so over here you can kind of see just a lot of the buildings are connected. They're made to kind of look good from the riverfront, which is what they're supposed to do. Down here is actually one of my favorite buildings just because I love the materials and the design of it. It's just very unique, and I get the feeling like it would be maybe an apartment complex a little bit, just because like the design of it and how the windows are set up kind of gives it that feel. Still need to expand the sidewalk, and keep in mind a lot of the buildings that you are going to see are going to be not finished because I don't have the time to finish all of them. And I actually heard this in a video, and it actually made quite a bit of sense. If you want to plan out a city, and a lot of you guys will see that I have maybe one wall done on my city, and that's actually a good thing because then you have the idea already there, and then you can kind of plan around it. So that's actually a good thing if you want to think about it that way. I never thought about that before, but looking at it now, it makes sense. So over here we have some of the newer buildings. Now this is actually one of my favorite newer buildings because of just the design of it. Again, I'm going to be saying that quite a bit, I have a feeling. But this kind of building reminds me of like a train station a little bit, just like the big arches, the big windows. Something like that reminds me of like a older / like government building for some reason. I'm not sure why. Again, I think it is the big windows. Again, not fully finished. We've been working on this one for the past, excuse me, for the past couple parts, I believe. So we've gotten quite a bit done with it, and unfortunately, I haven't had time to finish it. Over here, I'm not sure if I want to make this into a hospital or not, but this is definitely one of the newer buildings, and you would get the feeling that it would be a good hospital because of the shape. I feel like a lot of hospitals have this actual shape, and I'm not sure what I want to do with it yet, though, because if I did want it to be a hospital, I feel like I would need to have something else over here for like patient loading and things like that. Because if you look, there's no parking, there's no, loading system for patients, things like that. Because even though it's a small detail, that's kind of like small details really do add up into realism. And one of the rarest things is that this building actually has somewhat of an interior when it comes to stairs. So first part down, we know where the stairs are going to be, and where all the floors are going to be. Excuse me again, I'm having the burps. Over here we have a modern parking garage, which a lot of you guys actually, when I uploaded this video, a lot of you guys actually liked this one quite a bit, and I'm really happy that you guys did like it because it is one of my favorite builds. Parking garages can be pretty simple, but at the same time they can be difficult because with parking garages you don't want to use the same design over and over again. And with this, I feel like it's a little bit different. It's a very unique design as well. And I got that idea from Huntington. Right here is the most popular area on the stadium, or on the map, and that is the stadium. And just because of just how big it is. And some of you guys, I'm not sure if you know this, but one of my favorite YouTubers and friends, Big B Stats, he actually recorded SouthLake not so long ago up on his channel, and he basically toured it. So if you want to go see that on his channel, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm sure he would love that as well, because he did a great job touring it, and he covered all this as well. But I did want to get that out to you guys, letting you guys know that, hey, another YouTuber actually did record this, and I am good friends with Big B Stats, so it actually is cool to see him record it. So that's pretty much it for this side of the river. There's not too much yet. I mean, there's, I think, 4 buildings in this row. Let's count them real quick. So we got 1, 2, 3, so wait, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 7 buildings complete. I won't say complete, but kind of designed here. And so you're definitely going to see a lot more, but the whole point of this side of the river is over there you have the skyscrapers, you have a lot of the bigger buildings. Over here you're going to see a lot of the smaller buildings, And here and there, you are going to see some skyscrapers over here, not as tall as those over there, but you will still see some skyscrapers on this side of the river at some point. It's just a matter of finding a good place for them. So now, we can actually fly over to the other side, which a lot of you guys are familiar with. But just in case you are not, we're going to fly around. So, basically, the city's been going on for more than a year at this point, and it's, you know, really progressed. If you look at episode 1 to see, like, how far it's really come, it's quite impressive in my opinion, because all this was done by me. I didn't have any help. So, it's also like that sense of accomplishment, I guess, for my sake at least. You know, it's just something like I enjoy doing by myself. It's relaxing to me to come onto the city and just kind of work on it and figure out like what's going to go where, what's going to be coming next. And that's actually one of my favorite parts about building a city, is just like the planning stage of it, because you want it to be organized and yet you want it to feel realistic. And you know, there's a lot of things you have to consider when you're placing a building somewhere if you want it to be realistic. You know, now obviously some of the buildings in the city don't really fit in, or they might not feel realistic. But those are some of the older buildings. A lot of the newer ones definitely feel more realistic and kind of fit in with their surroundings a little bit better. One thing I wish I could do, if I could take back, would be move the highway. I don't like how far down underneath it is, but I also don't like the fact that, you know, there's no grass or anything next to it. I think that would have been a great opportunity to have some, you know, more greenery in the city. So that's probably something I would take back. So over here, we have the museum, which again, it is not fully complete because I don't really do interior all too much. And over here next to it, we have basically like a kind of like a Washington Monument kind of thing, which I made just to kind of, you know, fill this area, but also trying to bring it some more historic areas to it. If you are curious, these are hoppers with flames on top of them, and I never thought the flames would actually stay this long, but they have, and it's actually really cool. Oh my goodness, I might be getting a cold. Over here we have another parking garage. Now when I actually made this one, the first thing I said was, it reminds me of like a casino parking lot. I don't know why, just like the brick with the sandstone reminds me of a casino that we have here in St. Louis called Ameristar. And for some reason that just really pops out to me in my head. So let's see what else. We have a lot of the smaller buildings here because these are going to be more of the historic buildings that were here before the skyscrapers, because we want to add some history. Down here we have a underground tunnel for the highway that will actually go over across the ocean, I think is what I'm going to do with it. And so basically, as you guys know, or if you don't know, I can explain it as well. This is a man-made beach. It's still not done. It's far from being done. But the whole point of this at some point is to have 2 full maps worth of water. That way, that can be the ocean. And then on the other side of the ocean, I want to start building another city. And just because that way you still have plenty of room for growth and, you know, development. And I just think that would be a really cool thing to do. Now, yes, it is very ambitious to do that. But I have all the time in the world. It's not going to be done in, you know, 2 weeks. It's not going to be done in a year. You know, that's the one thing I love about cities. There's always something else to kind of focus on. So, yeah. So, this highway is actually going to maybe go across the ocean. I'm not too sure if I want to do that or not. Or if I want to have like a island in between the 2 cities. You know, a lot of stuff still to be planned and worked on there. Those are just kind of, like, what's the best word to use for it? Kind of, you know, planning stages, I guess, or thoughts I have. So over here we have a lot of the newer buildings as well. Some of these are pretty old. I mean, I think a lot of these were built in maybe the episode 50 range, and that's actually not too, you know, long ago, but it is long ago, I guess. Over here is one of the newer buildings right here. Now this here is one of my favorite buildings because of the historic value to it. And again, just the big windows, the big arches. Like, whenever I see a building like that, it reminds me of a older building, because they used to do that quite a bit. And I feel like this would be either a great train station or just something like that. I'm not too sure what I want to do with it yet. Again, still a lot of planning stages ahead. But just the actual design of it reminds me of like an older building you would see, you know, when the city was first starting to grow, you know. Over here we have a modern building, which I still need to add a door to. Every time I see this building, I still think, you know what? There's no way into the actual building, I don't think. Not over here. Yeah, so there's no way into the building. I still need to fix that. And 2 of my favorite buildings on the entire city, because of just how they look together, are these 2 right here. Mainly because of the roof here. I love this part because And I actually did this with Big B Stats. I showed him this view. So if we fly in here and we just like walk out, you know, like if we're a citizen, you know, hey, we're on top of a building, hey, this is really cool. And then you just see all the buildings surrounding it. You can see the helicopter in the sky. You can see all the skyscrapers surrounding it. And this is just one of my favorite views of the city because of it. And that's why I love these two buildings, because these are based off a real building in New York City. I forgot what the actual buildings are called, but I got the exact idea from them, so they are realistic. And I just love how they stand out compared to all the other buildings. And I really think it is because of the unique shape, but also because of the grass and the garden on top of it. So let's see, what else do we got? Over here, we have more of the smaller buildings as well, with the highway. And this is actually the above ground highway going above the city. And I still have to complete a lot of it, but you can kind of see where it's kind of going from here. You know, this highway is connecting to this one's going out that way. You have on and off ramps which are very crucial to having a realistic city as well. I think over here in these areas, I'm going to have a lot of smaller buildings like those that we just passed. And I'm going to have a lot of those here as well. And maybe a parking lot or two, you know, something like that. Again, still a lot of planning stages. I'm just letting you guys know my thoughts on like how I see these things, you know, going about in the future. So I know I've said this quite a bit. Some of my other favorite buildings are these over here. Now mainly I like these two buildings together, and I think the building on the right here actually looks better from this angle. If we go to the back side of the building, it just kind of looks more, you know, original. It doesn't really look like anything special. You know, it looks like a normal building. But when you fly over to the other side, it has that appeal to it because of the big windows and the arching roof, or sloping roof I should say. And I just love how that looks. And this one here, the one on the left, I just like the color schemes for it. Blue is my favorite color to use. I feel like this would be a great office building, or maybe even an apartment complex, because you even have this up here to kind of, you know, go over everything. You know, a lot of unfinished buildings as well. So I think we're almost done touring the city. There's not all too much. This bridge takes us over to the stadium, as you can see there. And I just really love that stadium. I love how it fits perfectly in that space. It's just one of my favorite builds I've ever done. Let's see. So a lot of these buildings are from the very beginning. A lot of these here. The very first building on the city, I'm not sure if you guys know this, was this big tall building right here. This was the very first building on the city. And as you can tell, everything's grown around it. And a lot of these are like the older buildings, because I went out this way. And man, I hate recording after I eat sometimes, because you get like those like bubbles in your stomach, I guess, to where it makes you want to burp. Yeah, but a lot of these things have really been here for quite a long time, for over a year. You know, it all started with that building, and it kind of just grew around it. You can see, if we take out a map, how much it's really progressed. So where's the map? Here it is. And I haven't shown you guys the map yet. So, boom. Here is the map. Some of the things over on the other side of the river aren't shown up yet, because they aren't complete. But you can see just how much the city has progressed. And the last thing we're probably going to show off is the subway station. Now again, if I could change one more thing on the city, I think I would redo the subway station. Not because I don't like the design. I actually love the design of this, because it's definitely modern and unique. But I would change the scale of it, because I would want the trains to be a little bit bigger, along with a lot of this stuff over here. Now yes, I obviously still could do that, but it would take a lot more time to re-renovate. There we go, I got it. Yay! Hooray me. So I think I'm just going to leave it for now. I am in the process of changing these rails into anvils, because they do look more realistic when it comes to, you know, the rail design. And if we fly down here, and it's a pretty long ways away, we're almost there, I promise you. And here's the other subway station. So I do want to add more subway stations into the actual city. It's just a matter of where to place them, you know, because you don't want them too close, but you don't want them too far, and where they actually be realistic from a pedestrian's point of view. So that's really just about it. There's only a couple more things I think we could really talk about, which I'm going to answer some of your guys' questions, kind of. I'm sure you guys will have. So some of you guys will be asking, am I going to be building an airport? Yes, at some point. I just have to have enough room for it, because as of right now, there is not enough room for an airport, because again, I do want to be a realistic city here. And the problem with an airport is it takes up quite a bit of space. It would almost take up half of a map if you want to do it fully to scale and make it extremely realistic. And some of you guys might be saying, are you going to make a mall? Yes, I will. And that's actually still in the works. I actually have quite a good idea of the design. It's just a matter of, again, where to place it. And, you know, you want it to feel realistic as well. And that's going to be your main theme here when you guys ask me, you know, what's going to be added. Because I guarantee a lot of the things you guys say, like, you should add this, you should add that, I probably already thought of it. I still like the suggestions because there are a lot of comments I don't see, or that I do see, I'm sorry, that I didn't think of before. Like, somebody said, you should build this. And I was like, that's a good idea. I never thought about that. So I do love reading the comments. And probably the last thing I can mention is, am I going to be adding traffic into the actual city? Yes, when I'm all done, I do want to add actual traffic into the city, because you can't have a city that doesn't have traffic. As of right now, I have like maybe 10, you know, cars. When by the end of the city, I'm probably going to have, you know, over 1,000 cars would be my guess, if you want it to feel exactly realistic. So there is a lot more to be done. The city is not even close to being done. But hopefully you guys appreciated the tour. And if you did like it, please hit that like button. And if you liked this video, please subscribe if you have not already. So I will talk to you guys next week for another episode of Building SouthLake. Or come back to my channel tomorrow for another video on another game. So bye bye everyone. And thank you very much for watching. It is greatly appreciated. Bye bye.